Welcome to Zed Hustle. Zed Hustle Pilot. Hope you're all doing well. Today we got Suspekt here from Suspekt Stables. On to discuss a little Zed, crypto, gaming, and wherever we go from there. Thank you all for joining us. Hello, Suspekt.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome to the first interview, and thank you for being
Awesome.
here today.
Thank you.
So my first question for you is, of course, how are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well, man. Got work shortly, but we're grinding. We're out here.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your background in
hmm
crypto and gaming in general. Let's start off with gaming. Uh,
As in overall gaming,
yeah.
or bro, I've been a gamer my whole life. Since I was a little peewee. I've been playing massive amounts of games. Particularly COD.
So you're
OG, respect that.
pretty
But
hardcore, you would say?
yeah, I'd say I'm pretty hardcore
Okay, well
for
then,
sure.
how did you and crypto find each other?
Um, Actually, a mate of mine when I was going through university was into finance and was just like, "Oh, you dude, we should potentially look into this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, all right." And we did some research and it was back in that like 2020, 29, maybe 2019. Where there was that gnarly bull run. Like we had a really gnarly bull run where it was like you could get a coin at like 10 cents, and you'd wake up the next morning it might be at $1. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
I
Back in those days, if you remember those days,
Sure, sure. Well,
the
that's
the
great news.
hmm. And then to tie this all in, I got into what's it called, Zed Run and crypto gaming because, well, for one, I'm Australian. Every Australian loves to bet on some horse gambling and stuff like that. And then two, we had some pretty big influencers in Australia come out and kind of appealed to my demographic, being, Australian male, say roughly 18, 25, around there, being, in the game being Zed Run. And that's how we got into it. And ever since then, it's been an absolute roller coaster.
Yeah, definitely for all of us in crypto,
Yeah,
a roller coaster.
100%.
All right, well, great. So you mentioned Zed. Was it a marketing targeting that they did? I mean,
Yeah,
we know Zed's from Australia, so
yeah, yeah. So whether you do or you don't know, if you know the couple of, I would probably say, we'll go influencers, but they're more of like a radio talk show, talk hosts called Hamish and Andy.
okay.
They did a they have a podcast. I don't know if they're still doing radio stuff, but they had a podcast and they talked about it, and then it just kind of boomed from there. I know if you mentioned other things to other people, especially some other big heavy figures, they would understand because I think a fair amount of people, especially in Australia, jumped on Zed
I've
Run
heard
when that,
I've heard of
yeah,
this story.
when yeah, when
Definitely.
they kind of started talking about it.
Hmm. I've heard of this story from kind of maybe many older Zed interviews
Yeah,
of Stables where they've talked about that
yeah.
exact podcast as being the thing that first led them to Zed.
I'd probably say I wouldn't say I'm an OG Zed member, but I've been around the bush a few times.
Yeah, excellent. That's awesome. So,
Mm.
current state of your stable. What
My
would you?
current
Yeah,
state of
what would you say about it?
what would I say about it? Whew, we got. I don't know if I can use some of those words that's on in that I'm allowed to use here, but
Just keep
it's all
keep it
right
friendly.
for the most part. It's realistically, I'm in a relatively good standpoint. I'm probably in between changing my current strategy, but just due to the new, the whole new mechanics of aging and such. Um, I know you and I have spoken a bit about my next strategy going forth. If I can, we'll go. If I can do it,
Sure.
that'll be a next question. But yeah, my stable's all right. I got to say what I think I got like 45, 50 horses around there, give or take around there. Probably say 10 of them are paid runners. The rest are in between, no man's land and absolute glue. But for the most part, I think I'm in a relatively good spot. You know, nothing
Sure.
too special on my behalf. You know, I mean, I still, own a couple of decent paid runners. I've got a really good bred 2.0 that, I mean, back in the day was stupidly good, but not now, not so much now. I've got a really good Genesis. I've made some right decisions to get where I am, but for the most part, right now, I wouldn't say I'm doing too good.
Sure, it's really hard for anyone to say that.
Yeah, right.
Other than Knowles, I gotta say Knowles right now, and then the Wagmies and arbitrages, and
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're always going to be at the top of the food chain because they are the top of the food chain. So
I keep racing trolleys in one v
yeah,
ones constantly, and he's tough.
same with what is it, Farming XP? Those blokes.
Yep.
And then there's a couple other ones, but like I would say probably right now, like realistically, VAR horses don't get enough running in it to make you enough money, to say the least. Whereas the game right now is the only races that are getting pumped out are more double ups and 1v1s. Really, that's the
Right.
current kind of meta.
It's fun. They're a rush.
They're a
Not
good
gonna
rush,
lie.
yeah, very good rush. If you get a good one, you
So
know.
you mentioned current strategy a little bit.
Mm.
As this new release, I mean, is imminent, as they say. What are you thinking going forward? I mean, if you want to give anything away, I'm not asking, but
I'll try. I'll try to be discreet about it all, but without going into it, because I feel the strategy that I've got is, I think a lot of people are shifting that way, and I know that purely for the fact of talking to other community members in the scene, especially more established ones as well. You know what I mean? They have similar ideology as well where I'm at. So I mean, I'm progressing into more. You know what I mean? If aging's going to come and these horses, such as all the 1.0s and all the outliers is what they call them. You know what I mean? If they obviously age out, what's the next best thing? So I'm mainly looking into what can I do to ensure my survival in that next stage.
right. Yep.
And
I get it.
yeah,
Longevity.
longevity. You know what I mean? And obviously this is all subjective. Sorry, where I mean, there's a lot of FUD about with Zed at the moment, whether it's going to survive, die. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Facts killing it, or whatever it may be. But I think at the end of the day, it's you do need a say a we'll go 6 months plan of where you want to be at in 6 months time. But I can say my current strategy did not go as planned as I expected. I will say that I did lose a bit of money, but I guess look, you win some, you lose some. Hey, that's gambling. Gambling's gambling because gambling.
We are we are gambling by playing the game, Zed.
Yeah, yes. There you go.
So, all right. Moving on from strategy questions, on the horizon
Hmm.
is this big update. We're all very anxious to see what it does to the meta, I'm sure. Um, but looking back on your Zed career,
Mm.
what are your biggest achievements to mention?
I've got a few. I've got a few maiden wins, finals wins. I've got a couple of them. I mean, notably, one of my biggest achievements is, and I know it's nothing. It's not compared to some of the other boys that are out there. They've got some gnarly achievements. Is I bred a horse that fired over solid, and that was a gnarly day because when I did that and it went in, and it didn't get make past semi-finals, but when I did that, like I woke up the morning with about 7 people messaging me saying, "I'll buy the horse off you," like straight away, like 1 ETH, 2 ETH, and I was freaking out because like that was like a bit of a tipping point into getting into Zed properly.
It really gets you addicted at
Yeah,
that
it
point.
got me. You know what I mean? I know, and for one thing, if I was to ever say anyone that was looking to get into Zed and stuff, like there is a lot of avenues out there of which you can give yourself enough knowledge to understand and almost to say add a critical aspect of identifying horses that could be good, could be bad. You know what I mean? I think that would be a big advice if if people were coming out there and were like, oh, how do I get this? How do I get this? I mean, I spend an ungodly amount of time just looking at horse data. I love it. It's great fun. I do believe I have a decent knack for identifying good horses. Whether I can buy them or not, next question. But I think tying that all back in, my greatest achievement is probably that moment. That was a good moment for me.
Awesome. That is a very cool story. It must have
Yeah,
felt good. Um,
yeah,
can't say I have had anything really close. I did find an ETH and a half bid on a horse once that I had bought for much less and was very, very happy
mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
to flip that. You mentioned Solid. He
yes,
just bred a super breed
yeah.
too,
That
so
that,
that
that
should be
horse
exciting.
did just breed a super breed. Yeah,
Great sprinting
that's gonna be a
horse.
gnarly horse. That looks like a good. I mean, I hope it gets a good roll. I really do hope it gets a good roll. But like, that should be a good horse. And it sold for what? 1.7 ETH,
Yeah, I
I
believe
think.
so. Was
Yeah,
that it, or was
nice.
that the other super breed?
I don't know. I think it was the other one, but no, no, no. I think that was Gaz's one.
Oh yeah. Well, shout out, guess. Nice, nice breed there. S- I guess you mentioned doing a lot in Zed, a lot of finals wins, maiden wins,
Yeah.
being
Oh, I
kind
don't.
of
I don't have.
relevant.
Okay.
But here,
Before we. Yeah.
is there a definition of success to you, and what is that?
So for now, this is going back a long while, a very long while ago. I was like, and I know it's a bit bad, but I was blessed with the early understanding of I met a person through Zed who showed me, in a sense, the major ropes of ROI. You know what I mean? I had, and at this point I had no idea that there were people in Zed, to say the least, that were just absolute, going for ROI.
Yes, like
You know what I mean?
grinders.
Yeah, grind. I never, and I can. I mean, far out. I sold that horse. I actually sold that horse to back to a new person for the same amount I bought it for back in the day. But I think back in the day when I had that horse, I mean, I don't know if you can get it up. It's called Slime Time Live. I don't know if it's still there, but back in the day and I say back in the day being 1.0 racing, that horse had I think it was like a 60 something % T3 place rate, and I didn't know anything about it, and it was just, he was just like, dude, you run this horse like 5 times a day. There's a good chance you're gonna be making $50 a day. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's realistically what kind of got me started with getting well into Zed, to say the least, because then I was had enough money coming in to say start funding a lot of other different not stables, sorry, a lot of other different horses.
Right. Like
So
trying things.
yeah, trying things, breeding. I don't think I've put too much money into Zed compared to probably some other people out there. But I mean, my initial investment was maybe like 1,700 Australian. You know,
Sure. And
not
2 years ago,
not every
that
yeah
was probably a
not
half an
everyone
ETH,
has
right?
that. Yeah, but that was back in the day half an ETH. Now you look at it, that same money I bought a Genesis. I mean, start of this year. That was me reinvesting all my winnings, to say the least. No, I wouldn't say all of it, but a lot of my into a new Genesis, which I mean that has been doing pretty well actually. I mean, got breeding well. It's been annoying because I kind of did buy that horse for tournaments, because this horse is a paid runner. You know what I mean? So if we had paid tournaments, I definitely would have gotten in, but we don't have them anymore now, which is a little bit of a shock to the system. But is what it is, I guess. Just got to adapt and overcome.
Every day changing.
Yeah, every day it's changing, which is, look, I like it, but at the same time, people, I don't like it.
Sure, I have my qualms. I'll say that.
Yeah, as everyone would, you know what I mean? In our pool of people, everyone would have their qualms.
All right. Well, now that we have moved on to talking about Zed, let's talk some more about it. I
Yeah,
guess instead of
beautiful.
the qualms, what's kind of your favorite thing about Zed? What do you like most?
What do I like most? Man, that question's so hard to ask me because the game of Zed that I fell in love with, well, and I'm talking maybe 2 years ago, is not the game we're playing these days. Like the, it's so much has changed, and I can see why a lot of it has changed. But currently at the moment, I guess 1v1s are kind of like the most I like about Zed right now. Probably wouldn't even say 1v1s. Just I feel that like knowing you're having horses that you can actually compete with is probably one of the better things in Zed right now that I'm enjoying.
Sure. Like,
I could definitely and I can guarantee you there is that many people out there right now that just and I know it's just you open up Twitter and you see it every day. You open up Twitter, and it's just people bleeding money into a game that oh, I need this, I need that, I want this, I want that, and it's just like I feel that the game's quite I don't want to say linear, but like either either you're winning NZ or you're not winning NZ. You know what I mean? There's not really many middle ground kind of thing. There's no, and I would say that I don't even think there's many people that would be break evening at the moment as well.
sure. It's really tough. I will say that.
Yeah,
I
it is.
agree.
It is seriously tough at the moment. And to be fair, I think it's only going to get tougher if certain things don't pan out the way that I would see it. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. So, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think if I was to say what is the most thing I like about Zed, I would arguably have to say it's community, hands down. It's community, hands down. Is probably right now the most thing I love about Zed.
Yeah, I definitely find myself interacting with the community constantly.
Yeah,
I'm kind of a lifer in Zed, and most people um,
hmm
recognize. uh, you mentioned um, the ever-changing scene and how difficult it
yes.
really is to pick the one thing you're excited in 1v1 being the kind of the trend. But earlier you had mentioned kind of your passion for data and horse
Oh
scouting,
yes,
right? And the
yes,
scouting
yeah.
of
Here we
horses. So
go.
would you say maybe that is something that is what you really like most? Is there
Oh
still
yeah.
discovery
I'd
left,
probably
right? And
yeah.
why
Yes.
1v1s are so the thing right now? Because we're all still not sure 100% who are the best 1v1 horses. Some people got it figured
Oh.
out, but
So I was gonna
maybe
say there's probably a couple out there that you could definitely say probably a little bit busted for 1v1s to say the least, but a little bit broken. But yeah, I mean, look, apart from you're right, you probably should say I didn't not that I shouldn't say I classify that as that. I just purely like looking at data. I thoroughly enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to see, especially when and whether people have felt like this before or whether it's just a me thing. When you get a horse that you have identified that you're like, oh yes, I mean the horse hasn't run in 8 months, but certain variables and why you like the horse, gets you a little bit. I know it sounds funny, but it gets you a little bit horny. It gets you a little bit up and going. And you're like, oh, this could be something. You know what I mean? And then once you finally get that horse that you have identified and it does everything that you said it was going to, once you get it and you race it, you know what I mean? I feel like there is no other better feeling than that in the world.
hitting
100%.
hitting a breed that you target and it being
Oh
what
yeah.
you wanted. It's I like
Yeah.
that.
Same, yeah, same little thing, you know what I mean? But like for me, there is sorry, it's tough that when you say is there is definitely ton more discovery out there, and I can tell you right now because I actually spent 3 hours this morning looking at some horses that I actually just what's it called, saved, because these are horses that haven't ran in God knows like years. There is some out there that are years, and it's crazy to me that like there are horses out there, and I know that there's horses out there because you see it day to day or even maiden to maiden where, someone's got a Genesis that they unbox and it turns out to have absolute beast. I think the last one we kind of had was, I don't want to say Dawn. I don't, Dawn Missile. There we go.
Missile.
Dawn
Yeah, the
Missile.
missile one.
Dawn Missile. The missile one. That's relatively recent. You know what I mean? But that's come out and it's what I think it's like 99 VAR and
Looks
max
great.
VAR. I think it's like, yeah, it looks good. It looks good. It's still got a ton of leveling in C2 as well. I think it's like what 460 or something.
Yeah, it's a Z9, isn't it?
What, Dawn Missile?
Yeah, I think so. 9 or
Nah,
10.
Dawn Missile's a Z6 Finny, and it's at 470, 479 is what it's currently at.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so there's still some room there. It's funny. Mel's actually DM'd me this morning saying, "Hey, did you want to buy it back?" Because I before, and this is the crazy thing. Like what we're saying with most things you love about Zed, and I love data. I found this horse. Probably not the same time. I wouldn't say the same time, but I had found it before Mel started racing it, and I flicked it to one of probably my only partner in the game. Shout out to Kaiju Racing, but and I was like, dude, I think this horse is going to be a bit skits. Like, I think this horse it's on something, And what happens? Mel's gets it and starts racing, and then all of a sudden, using third-party tools, it goes to 99 VAR, and I'm sitting there going, damn. That could have been, you know what I mean? That could have been it.
I hear you.
That could have been it, But hey, you win some, you lose some.
Kaiju just unboxed a decent Jenny, didn't he?
Yeah, baby. Let's go, Dawn. That's 100%.
Same name, right? I recognized the name, and I thought of you, and you telling me the story about.
Yeah, and he's
like, Kaiju.
And Dawn's also more of a scarier one because that horse is like, it's got way more leveling to become. Like, what stupid amount of leveling to come. So once that horse starts getting up there, like, man, that's gonna be great. I'm hitting this. I'm hitting this a bit later with one of my Jennies, so that should be good. I'm praying for a lovely outcome here.
I hit that key pick.
Oh, the super breed.
Well, from one more Tisha Ducky.
And Ducky, yeah.
Sonny had advertised it on Twitter this morning, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hit it. I got matching.
I'm gonna hit it.
Matching Ver.
Which one's your one?
I ended up hitting it with Lord Rush, so it's the Lord Devoutly Rush of Adrenaline kid. And I was just like, well, whatever. I got 4 matching 99 Ver, basically just beasts at the top. So just hammer these two.
And
that's how I smash nowadays.
I was gonna say. I don't want to say it if you don't want me to talk about your strategy, but yeah, hey, I'm very excited to see how this turns out for you because that I know that's exactly how you're breeding at the moment. So that'd be really cool to see.
I wouldn't even care. Maybe it gets sprint DP. I'm definitely in need of sprint DP, but
hey, I got you.
I run it.
I got you. If you need some sprint DP, I got you, baby. Yeah, I got you. Don't worry.
I do.
But yeah, look, even saying that, you know what I mean? Like, it's good. I think we can. I think backtracking all the way back to going to Discovery. Yeah, there definitely is. There definitely is a lot of Discovery still to be made. You know what I mean? We can actually talk about it because I picked up a horse not long ago with you. Remember that Muscle Up Matt?
Yeah.
If you remember that one, that was the horse that had the what is it, affectionate beast blood in it. I
But
mean,
just
the
it just
mum,
had the weirdest
yeah,
looking
it
U.
just
It
had,
had it was a
yeah,
U that missed first and 12th, and it was like, how come it never finished first or 12th?
yeah. How come I never finished first 12th? And what happened? First three races, I think I chucked it in. It went 1-1-1,
Wow.
something like that.
Yeah.
You know, one oh okay, sorry. Okay. It won its first paid. It won its first paid I had, then it went 12 and flamed though in the free, and then the other races I have, it's I mean, look, there's a couple of seconds, couple of thirds, but at the same time, in this today's like, game, like it's 213, you know what I mean? Like it's in a rough spot. Like the horse is in a bit of a rough spot. But
Huh.
there you go. There's something on Discovery that you could at least say the least. You know what I mean? Identify this horse. I didn't think it would be amazing, but I definitely felt like it would be. It's up there. It's got something to give, and it's doing it. It's doing what I expected.
There's definitely a lot of undiscovered horses, and I think that
Mm,
some of Zed, in a way, is a little bit undiscovered too. Even the
yeah.
1v1 strategy, I've
Oh,
been running,
100%.
I've been running some median speed freaks, and when I say that,
Mm,
I mean I don't know, 45 to 60 variants on a Zedge scale, or like a 4 RNG and a blood tool
mm,
scale, but they're a little bit
yeah.
higher, but they have just kind of like nuts DP. So they're like
Yeah.
perfect for a specific distance,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
run them at that specific distance, and it's like, they always just kind of run fast. And I have one that's maybe 7-2 or something in its first, or 8-2 or something, 7-3 in its first 10, and um, maybe it's not all about low variance in 1v1s, and maybe it's more about having perfect DP, and even a little
oh,
variance is okay because, yeah, anyways, that's what I mean by I think a lot of Zed is still undiscovered. You know, what makes an ideal
oh,
quadruple up horse? So
a
for
hundred.
T3, and I'm kind of against over segmentation at this point. I mean, I like it,
I
but
think
as I think if we level faster, it's unnecessary.
I think my problem, which we can incorporate with, one of the questions that you have here, where it's, what would you change about Zed? I personally feel that, like saying, not to say that I have any game develop experience or anything of that matter, to say the least. I just personally think that they like, look, I trust it. I understand where facts coming from and stuff like that. However, I just personally believe that there are so many things that they have done that I just question from more of a gameplay standpoint. Not even Zed as a whole or playing the game, just more of a standpoint. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure, you
you
said
know,
you're a lifelong gamer,
yeah,
right?
I play a lot
And
of
I am too.
games. Yeah, a lot of people, and I think a lot of the questions that I, would raise to say if I was ever to go, hey, Fac, Ryan, whatever, like, whoever works at Zed, can you, just give me these answers? Because I would, answer these questions, sorry, for me, because I'd really like to know why you have done this or why you have done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole shift from breeding 2.0 to 3.0, you know what I mean? My first question for that would have been, why couldn't have you just changed the attributes of what breeding could have been like in a sense of more of a linear scale, so it wasn't so much of a power creep, you know?
Mhm.
Because if we backtrack to say when conditionals were popping off and all that stuff was going on, there definitely was a monopoly and there definitely was a power creep. Like there is no doubt about it. And if anyone tells me elsewise, I'll get up in arms about that. But like at that point when that game, I know there was a monopoly there, but like the game was still thriving with everyone that was there. We didn't really have a lot of onboard users, you know what I mean? But the core of who Zed were, they were thriving, you know? The big dogs were getting the payouts, you know what I mean? The little guys, some of them were winning, maidens. There was a lot of, cash money being thrown around. Paid racing was pretty decent, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like what it is today. You know, you know how paid racing now. It's harsh. It's tough to get, you know, say 8 paid races done. You know what I mean on some horses because
Oh,
you still got to
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because you still got to also play the game in a sense. You just can't put your horse in eight 1Ks, eight
If
paid 1Ks
if
because your
you
horses are
want,
paid.
yeah, if you want your horse to race 8
Yeah,
races, you're running it wherever the heck you can
yeah,
get a
you're
filled race.
yeah, 100%. You are running it wherever the hell you are trying to get it to race. You are not wrong there.
Right.
But
So I
you
get
know,
you there. That's why I
like
think that segmentation should they
yeah,
should
and I
not
agree.
over
You know what I mean?
segmentate after this
I
release.
also, you know what I mean? I also, like a big question for me with, all the founder updates that are coming, the 10x multiplier, the new aging, the new stamina system, you know what I mean? Why the absolute, you know what I mean? Not going to swear, but why the hell have they let, the game in a sense have what, how long, I can't remember how many months, maybe like 5 6 months. I don't know, just off the top of my head. The game's been running for 5 6 months at a standpoint of literally stagnation. You know what I mean? There are certain people out there that are just straight up grinding paid races purely to get as head as they can. You know what I mean?
It has been since about
Yeah,
end of October, almost November,
yeah,
right? Where they've
yeah,
just said, you know what? The new breeding or the new game is coming and new breeding, and then they upgraded our horses, and then they kind of stopped running, the weeklies. You're right. It has been pretty
yeah.
stagnant for about
It's
five
been pretty
months.
stagnant for about 5 months, and the three things I'd take away from this being stagnant is one, levels. Was levels really necessary at all? Did we ever need levels, or did we ever need evos? You could have easily just done a whole class. We'll go class update, which is all the horses that were the ones that are allowed to down class. You know what I mean. Those ones I had a few back in the day as well. I totally understand that because that was 100% a problem within the game. But we fast track to nowadays where all the horses are in their subjective levels. Whether yours, like what I mean. Like we've got Arb with Rel Domeno and whatever is it? What's the other one that he's got? The blue one. I can't remember the horse's name.
9 lives?
No, not Nine Lives. The Genesis one, the blue Jenny.
Oh, Mirajo.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that one. That one. Totally forgot that name. But you know what I mean? Like, and I know, like, you look at that and you see and you go, oh, they're in class two. You know what I mean? But like, there are horses that shouldn't be in some classes versus should be in some other classes, and it's come out through that whole debacle over the last few weeks of that breeding update. You know what I mean? Where everyone's coming through regarding BA and DP and all and such like that. You look at it going, like, why do a few of these updates that they've come out with saying, oh, it's mandatory, it's needed for the game, longevity, this, that, to from those updates that you did, say, 6 8 months ago, you are now incorporating new updates to counter those updates.
Sure, sure.
Like it doesn't.
It's a
To
shooting your
me,
foot
yeah,
scenario.
100%. You know what I mean? As well as not to say that not. I don't want to speak badly, but like not to say that there is all of this has created a lot of FUD, to say the least. You know what I mean? Zed's still doing well. It's still thriving, still doing all right. But like, there are some people out there that they are not happy, and I agree with them. They have every right to not be happy with them.
Yeah,
You know,
lot of
like
investment taken
yeah, a
straight
lot of
off the
investment. You know what I
table.
mean?
Like,
With zero regard, to say the least, is what I feel. Is why I think, and I think that's probably why a lot of other people are also upset. Whether they got spoken to or not by Zed, they just got completely just taken off the table, like you said. My one thing, like, not, I wouldn't say so much to change, but for me, I wanna know why. Okay, it's more of a question that I don't think's been answered. With the whole new leveling that comes out with 10 times XP multiplier and races. If I have a horse that's in, because there are horses out there that are in, class 5, class 6, that am I going to be able to race them all the way up to their max Evo?
right
Because that's
down
another
the
thing to me.
line, maybe.
Why bother with Evos? Why not just have a progressive system where, oh, your horse got chucked into, level 200? You know what I mean? Your horse 200, all right, you just got to race it now until you get to X amount of levels,
Which is
you know?
funny because that's one argument that breeding 2.0 and racing 3. Or breeding 2.0 and racing 2.0, if they would have been given a chance to work together, would have worked.
Yeah,
Because they would have
I think,
fed into their, C1, and the monsters that were C1 would have just kept feeding better C1 runners, and I could have kept breeding my 300s and being in class 3 and being happy.
yeah, 100%. You're not wrong there,
Yeah.
Add another thing that I would like to see with Zed change. Tell me, please, just I don't know. Hire me, bro. Like hire me for $100 a week, and I'll be your comms person. Like you know what I mean? Just give me someone who has dedicated communications to the Z team. We go into dark stages where it's 2-3 weeks. We have no information regarding things that are coming up. And you're sitting there like, how the fuck does this even work? Like, what is going on here? Like, what am I missing?
Yeah. Speaking of, I guess stepping back, shooting themselves in the foot. You were
Mm-hmm.
here for it because we talked long history, but
Mm.
when they took away odds and added like fatigue, like all in the
Yeah, yeah.
same like moment of that, cold August day or whatever it was, and
See,
like it
see, for
just
me,
destroyed like everything was so exciting for
yeah.
Zed at that point and everyone involved in the game. And I know I was pretty new. I was in like maybe 3 or 4 months, but like it didn't make any sense to me as to why did the team just do this? The game was perfect, or so
I
it seemed.
Yeah, so whether there was technical issues or anything regarding about that, I would suspect my only suspicion would be weren't those changes in regards to legislations within USA? Because wasn't
Let's
it
see. Maybe
isn't
it
those
was.
is it
Maybe it
isn't
was.
weren't odds considered gambling?
Yeah, maybe it
So
was.
I don't know if that's true or false, could be completely wrong, but that's just how I look at that, you know?
Because people for the longest time tried to say it was because arbitrage had too big of an advantage and he would run his own horses against his own horses to get early odds and know how good they were. And
Well, I
I
mean,
don't buy
you
that
could
really.
do. I don't buy that either because at the end of the day, you can necessarily do that as you are right now.
Sure.
If you breed a horse, I mean, we don't have odds, but if you breed a horse and just say you have a gun sprinter, and then all of a sudden you breed a horse that fires over this sprinter, I mean, it could be a various of different things, DP, BA, bit of VAR, but like you could still do that these days.
Sure, against strong field, T3
Yeah,
flames are still pretty
yes,
dang valuable.
I still, yeah, I still pretty valuable, like, and I didn't mind the flaming. I think odds makes way more sense. It does make sense because you can visually see, oh, I actually won this race, but my odds in this race are 41 odds. You know what I mean? That is a luck roll and a half. You know what I
But
mean?
those are
I
the
did not
ones you would
expect.
be most happy with, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
yeah,
won a 40 to
yeah,
1, man.
100%. You're not wrong there, but like also to add to that, like it just doesn't. I guess we could talk about this for days, bro. Like there has been so many things that Zed's done that you're just sitting there like, what the absolute, you know, why? Like why? What's the question to them? Like what do you, what is this trying to implement? You
Sure.
know?
Sure, and
If
as we talked about our gaming backgrounds and gaming
Yeah,
histories, and being so
yeah,
involved in the core AAA games and just what
yeah,
are the best games is, and that's what we were playing.
yeah,
And
a
you
hundred
just
percent.
find those development companies did things in very specific ways, and we all kind of became accustomed to. And we haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen that from the Zed team in a
No,
lot of
we
ways, and
have
that's
we
why
have
we've been
not.
playing, you know.
Yes, I agree. I 100% agree with you. I would also, two things that I'd like to add to Zed, whether they can or can't do it. I would love for a whether it's a I don't know a once a month thing or a once a few months thing or even what I mean maybe once every 3 months just a day where certain stables whether that's I don't want to say the large bag holders but just they get to sit down and talk to Zed development team. You know what I mean? Just get some of their thoughts across. Have like a bit of a brainstorming activity. Because realistically, the greatest thing I think Zed has to offer currently in terms of Web3 and Web3 gaming is its community. Like I don't know of any other community that's out there that is to say as unified and also as strong as Zed Run is. So
I'll agree with you in a
you know
lot of
you know what I
ways.
mean.
Yeah, and
You
I've
know, you know what I
been
mean. So like,
around some strong community.
so why not use that? You know what I mean? And I understand that people would sit there and go, oh, but they just want to line their pockets. They want to do this. They want to do that. And I was like, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to realize the whales need us as well to thrive. You know what I mean? The big dogs also need new players. The big dogs need new. You know what I mean? Need existing players to say the least to help them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Sell breeds, sell off horses that they might not have time to run. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things there that like in the ecosystem of Zed we need to like figure out.
Yeah, yeah, I can see where you're going with that. I it's early. It's the way that, that
You
things
know what I
are,
mean?
I
And
think, right now in Web3. Like a lot of
mhm.
the mainstream is still not confident that Web3 can even
No,
become a thing. And
no.
I'm really starting to see some big things in Web3. I think a lot of AAA companies are quietly developing behind the scenes because they know if they're first to market with the right game, that the power behind what Web3 can do in gaming in general.
Yeah, 100%. I also to add, you know what I mean? I like you're saying, I think all it takes, and I've had this thought for ages, is all it takes is for, a game. Arguably, I doubt they would ever do that, but like Fortnite or Call of Duty or something where it's just that game. Because like, you could, not to say you can make a simulation in a sense of buying content for a game is similar to how I feel that you should be able to do within Zed Run to say the least. You know what I mean. Give players the opportunity to sell skins or create skins. You know what I mean. Just say if you win just say if you win the finals, maiden, you get to sit down with a Zed Run person and make a one of one skin.
I mean,
That
so
you
many
get
things, right? You
there
could
is
do.
there is so many things out there. You know what I mean? Free XP tournaments, paid tournaments. I don't even know. I don't. I get free tournaments. You don't want to give the people free money because there was a lot of people back in the day that just only did Zed Run purely because oh yeah I can put a $20 horse in and I can get through get through finals and if I have a lucky roll I can make $100, $200, $300. I
Sure.
get that, but like why not try paid tournaments in this environment. We are a paid racing. You know what I mean? Why not do paid tournaments? I kind of already know the answer to a lot of these questions, but you know what I mean. BG, we spoke to BG, and he gives us the man gives us the rundown of how Zed is at the moment.
They're coming. I
But
think paid tournaments are coming. I
I
think we
think I
kind of
think they're
know they
coming as
are.
well. I think we
So
know they are. I
Ryan's
knew.
little tweet the other day with all those things, he didn't say it was April Fool's joke, so I would expect that.
Yeah, which is good, but to say that to add to that, why was this not done 4 or 5 months ago? Like
Hmm.
just I mean I get that it's a small development team and I understand that there's a lot of people. It's not a company. There's not to say people go to work. A lot of people are work from home and around the world, I guess to say, because I think we've got people in USA, Australia, New Zealand. I mean I think that's where a lot of the Z team is. But it's like there's a lot of things that they can do that whether they do or they don't, or whether there's other reasons in the sense of, they don't have the funds for it, they don't have the functionality to do it, you know. But it's just that they they should really listen to their community and get feedback from their community and act on that feedback from their community is probably the biggest thing I would change right now.
Yeah, and it can be done by polling, and then getting feedback from the polls, and then
Yeah, and
further
that's a
polling, and then deciding direction based on polling. I mean, go back to the early years of all those stupid games that we played growing up, whatever.
Mhm.
We saw a lot of things like this in later
Yeah.
versions, in the
Yeah,
RuneScapes, in
100.
the Maple
Yeah,
Stories,
dude,
and
I literally about to say that. RuneScape when they brought out polls, you could just that was just a thing in the game that you could
right,
just go do the polls, and it would almost I mean, it would you would know the
affect.
updates that are on the boards, and then you'd also know how it would happen.
Yeah, I mean, genius.
It's not
Aren't we
tough, you know
supposed
what
to
I
be
mean? I mean,
decentralized, No, I agree. I
you know,
agree with you
you know,
100% that that's what
you know what I
Zed
mean? I
could improve on.
there's
Um,
You know what I mean? And as I look at it and go, you know what I mean, to also, just to ramble on about Zed right now, but like you've got arguably the only game that I could probably think of that was during a proper bear market and a great bear market, to say the least, where people were still selling 1.5 ETH covers for, you know what I mean, for studs. We're in a straight up bear market, and there are people out there that were still willing to pump 1.5 ETH into studs.
yeah.
Like, and now look at that. And I know that's a controversy because that just made a reminder. Was, you know what I mean? Now we have people where people are like, oh, hey, I'll give you 100% rebate. If you hit my horse. You know what I mean?
I mean, hell, if ETH goes to 10K,
Mm.
is my decent Genesis worth 5 grand suddenly? Half an ETH, I mean, it's a pretty
I
good
don't know.
Genesis. It's got to be worth like half an ETH, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, it's suddenly worth
Definitely.
5 grand because ETH is 10K. Because so yeah, I think the bull run, the next bull run, if and when, and I'm definitely a believer in crypto cycles, halving cycles, golden bull, whatever you want to call it. Um,
Mm.
we've seen it pretty consistently. I think next one will be a little bit more subtle, a little longer, maybe slower, even more drawn out than the last one was. Uh,
Yeah.
so. So yeah, I'm excited for the future. I don't even have a horse listed right now. I'm diamond handing
I
this whole thing.
I don't have a horse listed, but if hey, anyone out there needs a couple of horses, please come my way because I would love you to help me fund my next strategy, and we'll see if that pans out or not.
Sure. Well, hey, anything else that you want to talk about that's not dead related?
Uh, I don't know, man. Not on the top of my heart. I think not to cut this interview short, I really got to go. I am late for work, but um, we're
Thank
just
you
sitting here having a
again
ramble, and
for being
I
here
can.
and coming on today. Again, this is the pilot, Zed Hustle, and thank you viewers for watching. Thank you, Suspect.
Thank you. Hopefully we do another one in the future when I got a bit more time and we can ramble. We can go to the depths of Zed, and I'll be there with you. I'm down for it.
All right, well, drive safe to work and get to work, and thank
Thanks.
you again.
No worries. Thanks, mate.
All
Bye.
right, bye bye. Till the next one, guys, we'll see you on the track. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Zed Hustle.